quick. I don't think we have another pop quiz until next week. But...
When's the test?
What?
When's the test?
You guys wrote it down, didn't you?
$11,714.
So next Thursday is the test. Yeah, next Thursday is the test.
Take it out.
Take it now? Okay.
I thought that was the one.
What's the date?
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
So I'm not gonna go.
Okay, so I'll have to figure out something else to do.
Or reschedule the test.
All right, here we go. I always want to do this just to make things go quicker so we don't have to go to the calculator. 30 degrees, if you want to turn that radians without using your calculator, 30 degrees. No, not the points on the unit circle, going from degrees to radians. So 30 degrees in radians.
Pi over 6.
Pi over 6. 90.
Pi over, oh no, never mind. Pi over 2.
270.
3 pi over 2.
How about 60? 45.
Pi over 4.
Yep. 180.
2 pi.
360. Okay. Just trying to make things go a little bit quicker here. And then from yesterday's class, any point on the unit circle, I don't care what the coordinates are here, radical 3 over 2, 1/2. What's cosine? Which coordinate? X. And what sine? Y coordinate. All right, so keep that in mind because we're still going to be using all this today. It all goes together. All right, here's what I want to do today. We're going to go to each quadrant, and you're going to tell me if sine is positive or negative, and if cosine is positive or negative. All right, so let's go to the first quadrant right now. Let me actually draw this up here, the quadrants. Okay, let me draw this. Here's your first quadrant. I want to know sine and cosine. What do you know about the sine? Which coordinate is sine again? The y coordinate, right? And cosine is your x coordinate. So look on my quad 1 up here. What do you know about the x coordinates and the y coordinates? They're all positive. So that means anything in the first quadrant. Max, pick an angle in the first quadrant.
60.
60. Everyone grab your calculator. If you do the sine of 60 and the cosine of 60, I don't care what the answers are, but are they positive or negative in your calculator?
Positive.
They're positive. So in the first quadrant, everything is going to be positive in the first quadrant. Everything. Because x and y are both positive. You think that's the same in the second quadrant?
No.
All right, what do you predict here in the second quadrant? What should sine be in the second? If I pick an angle in the second quadrant, the sine will be
Positive.
because you're doing what value?
Y.
What's sine equal to? What value? The y's. And what do you know about the y's in the second quadrant?
Positive.
They're positive. But what if I did a cosine of something in the second quadrant? That would be a negative answer. Yep. What do you think in the third quadrant? Both negative? Correct, because x and y are both negative. So anything in the third quadrant is always negative. And what do you think in the fourth? What's positive in the fourth, the x or the y?
X.
So which one's going to be positive, sine or cosine?
Cosine.
Cosine, sine will be. Now look, I get it. It's a lot to remember. So I have a little, I don't know if it's saying or a way to remember. So if you guys can draw me an XY axis right now, do that right next to this chart so I can show you how to remember what's positive where. In the first quadrant, put the letter A. That A stands for all. All, meaning everything is positive in the first quadrant. Everything. S in the set, put an S in the second quadrant. What do you think that S represents? Look at your chart.
Sine.
Sine. Only sine is positive in the second. Okay, everything else, including cosine, negative. Ooh, ready for this one? T in the third.
Tangent.
Tangent, right. Tangent is the only thing positive in the third. Everything else is negative. All right. These letters represent the only thing that's positive in the quadrant. And then in quadrant 4, put a C. What's that C stand for? What's positive in the fourth?
Cosine.
Cosine. Everything, all is positive. Everything's positive in the first, sine in the second, tangent in the third, cosine in the fourth. Now, a little way to remember these letters in the order. Ready? All students take classes. Okay? All students take classes, or whatever one you want to, all right, remember. All right, there's an inappropriate one out there that I'll share with you end of the school year. But if you want to come up with your own, I'm sticking with all students take classes. All right, what's your deal?
Axe. Will you the inappropriate one, please?
No.
Pretty please?
Last day of school, you can remind me.
ACTS.
What if, can we guess?
No, you come up with your own. I don't care, but I'm doing all students take classes. That's how I remember where the letters go. Okay, all students take classes. All good? All right, now your minds are just going crazy. I shouldn't even have said anything. I should have just kept it with all students take classes, and that's it. All right, let's get through this. Tell me what quad it's in, and if it should be positive or negative, the value. So this first one, is this radians or degrees? Radians. I don't have time to go on your calculator. Remember, here's how I can convert it. Pi over 3. Pi over 3.
60.
60 times 2. So this is what? Negative
120.
120. Good. That's negative 120. If you want to add 360 to it, go ahead. Just figure out what quad we're in. What quadrant are we in? Quad 3. Now, I just want to figure out if this value is positive or negative. It's in what quadrant? 3. What's the only thing positive in the third quadrant? Tangent. So this value should be negative. Correct. Everyone all right on how I came up? It was negative without even touching the calculator. All right, let's keep going. 117, what quad am I in? I'm not even going to bother asking because this should be down pat by now.
2.
Quad 2. What's the only thing positive in the second quadrant? All students. Sine. So cosine should be negative as well. And even if you check it in your calculator, if you type in cosine of 117, you're going to see a negative value there. Any issues yet?
Nope.
Okay, negative 87. Where am I? If you want to add 360 to it, I'm in quadrant 4. Yep. What's the only thing positive in quadrant 4? Cosine. So this value will be also negative. Everyone all right on how I'm determining that? I look at quadrant 4, the only thing that's positive is cosine. Or plug it in your calculator. You know that. I don't. It doesn't bother me. 460. What quad is that in? 460 minus 360. I have 100 left. So quad
2.
2. Yep. What's positive in quad 2? Sine. So this answer will be
Positive.
positive. And then pi over 6. What did we say that was?
30.
30. All right. Where's 30 degrees?
The first one.
First quad. And what do we know about anything in the first quad? It's all positive. Yep. Doesn't matter what I throw at you. Now, hey, I get it. You could have definitely used your calculator to tell me positive or negative. I get it. 11 and 12, you can't. Right? There's always something you can't use your calculator for, and we have to actually know what the heck's going on. So I want to know what quadrant we're in right now. If I tell you this, cosine is greater than 0. Whoa, greater than 0? Greater than 0? That's just a fancy way of me saying it's what?
1.
The positive, right? It's greater than 0. It's positive. So cosine is positive, while at the same time, sine is less than 0. Less than 0 is just a fancy way of saying it's negative. And there's only one quadrant that cosine is positive, while at the same time, sine is negative. Don't yell it out. I want you to think about it. One quadrant only, where the cosine is always positive, at the same time, the sine is always negative. There's only one quadrant that happens in. What quadrant do you think? Quadrant 4. Quadrant 4. Good deal. Yep. A lot of people usually say quadrant 1, but sine's not negative there. It's positive, so it's quad 1. Okay. Next one, sine is greater than 0. Another way of saying what? It's positive. What?
How is it quadrant 1?
Oh, I don't know, Leah. Because I said that and I wrote it down. I'm just embarrassing. That's why, Leah. So thank you for catching my downfalls. I appreciate that. Sine greater than 0. That's positive, right? Cosine greater than 0. So where is sine and cosine both positive at the same exact time?
1.
Quadrant 1. Question. God, this is really where I get fired up. This is where everything is going to come together here in the second exercise. Everything. Unit circle, ASTC, everything I've shown you so far after the quiz is going to come into play. We ready? We ready? Yeah, thanks. Sounds good. Yep. I'm fired up now. Definitely. All right, there's 2 parts to this. First one, I got sine of 300. It wants me to write it as a positive. Whoa, what's that bad boy mean again? Acute angle? It's got to be smaller than 90. All right, first step. Where am I? 300 degrees. Where am I? Quadrant 4. What's the only thing positive in quadrant 4?
Cosine.
So this answer should be
Cosine.
negative, right? Because it's in quadrant 4. So I'm going to start out by doing negative sine. Where did the negative come from again? What quadrant am I in?
4.
And what do you know about sine?
Negative.
It's negative there. So that's why I wrote negative sine. Now, somehow, I have to turn 300 into an acute angle. Leo, what did acute mean again?
Smaller than 90.
What type of angles have we been talking about all unit long that are always less than 90?
Reference.
Reference angles. There we go. What's the reference angle for 300?
60.
Woo! All right. So that's part 1. Good job. You wrote it as an angle less than 90. Part 2, what's the value now? What's the value? Right? We'll put those darn things down. 60.
Pi over 3.
No, that's the radians. Where is it on the unit circle? 60 degrees. 60 degrees. What ordered pair? 60. Where does it go through? What is it? What comma what?
1 half.
1/2 and? Come on, be here for me. Be here. Which one do I want if I'm doing the sine? Which one do I want?
Y.
Yes, the y value. So it's equal to radical 3 over 2, but what am I missing?
Negative.
Ah, shoot. I'm in. You can check it on you. I don't want to go into degree mode, but it works. Negative radical 3 over 2. All right, come on. Be here. You ready for cosine of 210? Where am I? 210. 3. What do I know about cosine in the third quadrant? Okay, so everyone ready? Negative cosine. Write it as an acute angle now. So the reference angle for 210. 210. How do I find 30 degrees, everyone? Good? All right, so there's the first part. You wrote it as an acute angle. What's the coordinate at 30? At 30. Radical 3 over 2, comma. Yep. Which one do I want if it's cosine? But with a? Let's go. Putting it all together now. This is big boy, big girl math right here. Congratulations. I'll just use my calculator. All right, whatever. Do what you got to do. Ooh, cosine negative 30. I'm not about, I don't know. I'm not about that life. I've never been about that life.
Do it.
So this is what? Cosine of add 360, 330? Same thing if I add 360. Where am I?
4.
What do you know about cosine in the fourth quadrant?
Positive.
Okay, so I'm just going to leave it cosine. I'm not going to put a negative out in front because it's positive. Reference angle.
30.
Woo! Good. So cosine of 30, you did the first part. We already have what 30 is equal to over here. Which coordinate do we want? The x, so it's going to be, oh my God, they all came out to be radical 3 over 2. Coincidence. And if you do cosine of negative 30, you'll get radical 3 over 2. Look what you just did there. It's pretty darn good. You basically combined the last 4 days here into this one problem. Reference angles, unit circle, X and Y coordinate. Anything you want to add, and you can always check it using your calculator, right? Just make sure you're in degree mode. We learned this unit, or reviewed it. What's that bad boy again? That's Pythagorean theorem. There is a version of it using sine and cosine that I'm going to show you to end class with now. All right. Oh, we got some more Greek letters rolling. We got some more Greek letters. Here it is. Instead of a squared plus b squared equals c squared, cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. Anybody remember what that Greek symbol was?
That's theta.
That's theta, right? That is theta. It could be anything. Beta. You can put any Greek symbol you want in there. It's the same. Okay? Yeah, sure. Throw a sigma. In there. All right. Everyone's cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1.
Yep.
All right, let's look at exercise 3. What's that symbol? I showed it to you yesterday. Alpha, good. Too bad that's not going to be on the Regents, naming the Greek symbols. It's the same as theta. Okay? It's the same as theta or any other Greek symbol. We're in what quadrant?
Second.
Please remember that. Not right now, but at the end. Somebody remind me that we're in the second quadrant. Sine is 3/5. What's cosine? All right, sine is 3/5. What's cosine? So I'm going to plug it into my Pythagorean theorem here. Here we go. We don't know the cosine, do we? So I'm going to write cosine. I'm going to use the alpha now instead of the theta. Everyone's all right? Squared. Plus, do we know the sine value?
Yep.
What is it?
3/5.
Now watch how I do it. It's not sine 3/5. It's 3/5 all squared. I don't put the sine with it. I already know the value. It's 3/5. What?
What's the fish? That's alpha.
That's my alpha. You don't like it looking like that? What's wrong with
It's
it?
just unfamiliar.
It just doesn't look right. Looks like a fish.
Is it flavor blasted?
I'm going to blast you in a second. How about that? What's the deal here? Are we all right?
Yeah.
You sure?
Guess it's okay.
Don't mock me. All right. Equal to? It's equal to 1. All right, help me solve it now. Nothing I can do here yet, right? Cosine alpha squared. All right, you guys have calcs. Go ahead. 3/5 squared.
9/25.
9/25. Thanks, boss. All right, what are you doing here, algebra studs?
Subtract.
So get the 9/25 over. Good. Move a 9/25 over. So what do I have here? Cosine alpha squared still equals
16 over 25.
16/25. Hopefully everyone gets that in their calculator. All right. Next move.
Square root.
Yeah, square root. Good job.
Is this going to be on the?
Yes.
You knew what you were gonna say.
Okay, ready? Take the square root. The square goes. You're left with cosine. And here's where I'm going to get fired up. Can everyone do square root of 6/25 on the calc?
Yeah.
You can, huh?
Let's try.
It would actually be negative.
I don't know.
Because it's the second.
256 over
Not
625.
What?
It is.
It's square root, not it's square. Oh, I squared it on accident.
Do it right.
No, it's 4/5.
What do you got?
4/5. 0.8.
I got 4/5 as well.
4/5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting 4/5, huh? Oh, 4/5? Oh, 4/5, huh?
Oh.
Oh, 4/5. Because, hey, that's what the calculator gave me. It must be the right answer, right? 4/5. Right? 4/5. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Going way back in your algebra days, when you took the square root of something, don't you get a positive and a Negative version, right? But what did I tell you guys to remind me of? We are in the second quadrant. Nick, what do you know about cosine today in the second quadrant?
Must be a negative.
It can't be positive, so it's got to be a negative 4/5. You have to pay attention to the quadrant. I know, I can't believe you got that right either. On your own, I didn't even have to say anything. All right. Good. Why it's negative? Okay, your calculator told you 4/5. I don't care. We got to pay attention and say, darn it, I'm in the second quadrant, so my answer should be negative. One doesn't make you great. One more. What quad am I in now?
First quadrant.
In first quadrant. So what are you thinking about my answer?
All positive.
It's got. I don't care what I ask for, right? It's got to be positive. I love it, guys. I love it. We're picking something up, darn it. Cosine's 1/3. What's the sine value? All right. So first one. What am I plugging in here? 1/3 all squared plus sine. What's my It's not alpha this time though. Theta. There you go. All squared equals 1. One-third squared. 1/9. What are you doing with the 1/9? Move it over. There's hope in here. What do you got? 8/9. Everyone getting 8/9 there?
Yep.
Still have to do what? Take the square root of both sides. You guys are so lucky with that calculator. It leaves it into radical form for you.
2 radical 2/3.
What do you got?
2 radical 2/3.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Why? Because your calculator said so?
Yeah.
Why?
In the first quadrant,
And what do you know? What about the first quadrant?
all positive.
Look at you back there. Good. Making me proud.
I have a question.